So I've started on my side. So as we start the interview, Pooja, I just want you to kind of introduce yourself to everyone, where you're from, and you're married right now, where you are residing.
Hi JD, I'm Pooja and I'm from Dubai. I'm an educator over here in Dubai, and we shifted from India in 2017. I was born and brought up in a very small town called Dhanbad in India, which is now in Jharkhand, and I studied there in a Roman Catholic school. So that's my background.
And this name Ghosh is actually a Bihari surname, right? It's very famous in Bihar.
No, actually Ghosh is a Bengali surname. I am married. I'm married and I'm married to a born Catholic, but I chose not to change my surname.
Okay, so that is interesting. So it's a Bengali surname, Ghosh.
It is a Bengali surname, yeah. I am a Bengali. I'm a born Bengali, and I'm a very much Bengali till now, when it comes to food and culture. But yeah, I chose not to change my surname because, that is something which my father gave me.
Yes.
Yes.
And also, so you were brought up in a Hindu family, and you also specifically mentioned that you guys were quite religious. So could you explain how it was growing in a Hindu household?
Yes, see, my family is a very, very broad-minded family, okay, very modern family, but at the same time, very, very religious family, okay. Like religion and prayers and culture was always very important, especially for my mother, for my mom. Still, it is very important to her. So I was always surrounded with, it was very, like cultural part was very important, and prayer and fasting for the prayer, all those things were very important. Astrology was very important, very, very important. Like I think from the time I could understand things happening around me, I have seen astrologers, numerous astrologers around my parents,
And Pooja, for those who don't know what astrology or astrology means, could you just explain what it is in a very brief way?
Astrology is the people who claim to know the future, and they can read the future. They will read your palms. They will do some kind of numerology, and they will deduce some your history and your history, geography, everything about you, and they will predict your future. So it's very funny. I mean, with all due respect to my parents, I still find it very funny because mortal, at the end of the day, we are humans. We can't set the future of another mortal. That is something which goes completely against the law, the God's law. It is not something natural. It is not normal. And in India, I think it's still very, very dominant. And what is sad is that nowadays I see even Christians running after it.
Yes, I have it.
Yeah.
I have faced that in my own family, Pooja.
Yes.
Like once when I was about to get married, and I was planning to go to one of my uncle's house, and he told me, "Don't come at this time. Come at this time. Only then it is a good time." I said, "What is good time, bad time?" It's all offshoots of the culture that we live in India, and astrology is also very integral to the culture, isn't it?
Yes, see, when it comes to culture, I'm not saying that because you're a Christian or you're a Muslim for that matter, you come out of your culture, you should not know about your country and the mythology of your country. You should know everything, because I'm from India, I'm an Indian. At the end of the day, we are Indians, right? So it is very important to stay, connected to our roots, But God is above everything. His law is above everything, every culture, every tradition, every person in your life. God is above everything. So definitely for me, God will be and God was the first priority.
And also, Pooja, so you were brought up in a Hindu family, and you were quite practicing also, quite religious, as you mentioned.
Very religious, I was.
Yeah, and you said that there were times as you were growing up as a child, you used to have these nightmare of experience in the night. So could you explain why that was happening and what was happening?
I think this me having nightmares, and screaming at night is very popular story in my neighborhood where I was born and brought up, and in my even in my extended families also, because I think I screamed everywhere, even at my relative space. It was that much. It was that much, and from a very very childhood, and I remember things so well, so well. Why? Because you scream when you're scared, you watch something scary, or you hear something scary, or maybe you're too tired. That's the reason we scream at night, because we have nightmares. But it has to be different nightmares, right? For me, I clearly remember there was one particular figure, every time the same figure, every time, believe me, Cherry, every time the same figure. I could see someone, a black figure. I never saw the face. A black figure with a hood, approaching towards me, and that I can't forget. I can't forget, and it is not possible. See, again, it is not normal that you will have the same person. You see the same person every time. Every time. And I used to scream. I screamed a lot, and I used to call my mother in my in my sleep. And there was also a fact that it was I never understood, when I'm sleeping, I never understood that there are people around me, because in my subconscious mind I was alone, but the fact was that my mom, my dad, everyone was around me, and they never left me alone because of this reason, because they always thought I will hurt myself, in sleep. And it happened. It actually happened after my marriage, when we were about to shift to Dubai, and my husband came to Dubai first. So that zone, because I never stayed alone without him. So, and I was also very anxious about him moving to a new country, a new place. At night, again I saw something. I had a nightmare, and I screamed, and I actually scratched my cornea. So I don't know how it happened. Maybe because of some sort of self-defense or something. Somehow I had my engagement ring, and I scratched my cornea. So it happened right before my husband was about to leave from India to Dubai. But because I think, when your spirit is low, you get that attack more. This is what I have, I have understood now. Till the time I was a Hindu, practicing Hindu, I never understood what, and I never wanted to know, because I was told that, you must have seen something scary, or you must have heard something scary, or maybe you're tired. I'm not saying that my parents did not want to help me. They actually wanted to help me a lot, but it was not working. But since I became a Christian and I started understanding the things around me, I know who that person was now. And even the devil itself, I can't disagree to it. And I'll tell you, JD, even when I was a Christian, I had these dreams. It did not stop till someone told me that you have to start praying, because I couldn't pray in my when I was sleeping. I couldn't pray because I was completely unaware of my surrounding. I couldn't pray that time, but someone came to me and someone told me in India itself that you have to try to start praying, at least try to start saying Our Father. That's how, or Hail Mary, that's how the devil will run away. And I really wanted to practice it, and I did, and now it's like, even if I start getting a nightmare, I automatically I shout Hail Mary, I start praying, and thankfully now it has stopped. I mean, I don't think so I ever screamed after coming to Dubai. Last 5 years, I think those dreams have stopped completely. But yeah, at times I remember in 2017 when I was in a very low phase. At that time, once I saw the dragons running after me. So that was the only time, you know, I saw the dragons running after me. But now, yeah, prayer is so much. I'll say it is so much in my veins that in my sleep also I start saying the prayer. So I don't shout. I don't shout, and I'm so thankful to God for it.
Actually, I have a similar experience like that, Pooja. But one thing that stood out for me was like I can remember even in my subconscious, as I'm having this night mass, I'm actually reciting Our Father, Hail Mary. I'm saying in Jesus' name, like I'm doing all that subconsciously. So when prayer happens regularly in our life, it becomes part of us. And when there is something that is not, we find ourselves helpless, we immediately recourse to that form of prayer, isn't it?
Yes. Maybe I was not able to do it in the beginning because I was not used to it, you can say. Because I didn't know how to handle that moment. I didn't know how to handle that moment, but now I have learned it.
Yeah. And Pooja, so moving on, these kind of experiences would have obviously pushed you to find what is the true religion, who is the true God, how can I get rid of these experiences. So you said you had a phase with Buddhism also, right? So could you explain that?
Yes. See, I was very much in quest of very much spiritual, and that quest, I was not satisfied with Hinduism, or because I always felt that this is one-sided. We are fasting, we are doing, and people are scared. Don't do this. This thing will happen. If you do this, you will get this. So it was all one-sided. I never felt that love or that security from the other side, which should be happening, right? Like if you consider exactly, yes, exactly. And I'm sorry to say, but there are so many gods in Hinduism, right? So even none, not a single god could appeal to me. I couldn't feel connected in that way. It was all one-sided, and it was mainly because your family is doing it, right? Because you were taught to do things in that way, So when I moved to Delhi for my higher studies, there was a group of friends, those who were into Buddhism. So, and it was craze. I think it was a style that time, So I spoke to them. I was in the group and I was enjoying, but after some time I found that it is just a gathering of rich Delhiites, and kind of page 3 kind of thing. It has nothing to do with spirituality, and I was still my question mark was not solved. I was still in a question, and then when I came to do my masters in Delhi again, I was in Delhi, and then I met Bonnie, and from there I started going to the church, and he took me to the church. Bonnie took me to the church, and I remember, yes, Catholic church, because Bonnie and his family, they are Roman Catholics, like by-born Roman Catholics, and my in-laws are very strict Catholics. My mother-in-law especially is a very, very devout Catholic.
And what is her favorite saying, Pooja? You told me that.
My favorite?
No, her favorite saying, you said, right?
Sorry?
If you don't kneel, something like that she said,
yes.
No? What is that?
Yes, that you should, she always says that, you have to kneel before God, otherwise someday, he will break your knees. He will break your knees and he will make you kneel. My mother-in-law is a very, very devout Catholic. Same with my father-in-law also.
And just to give a background, your in-laws and Bonnie are Anglo-Indians, so they come from a strong Catholic background.
Oh. Yes, very, very strong Catholic background. Anglo-Indians, yeah.
And that's how you got exposed to the Catholic faith. It was through Bonnie that you came to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but at the same time, no one ever forced me. I'm telling this, to you, like right away, very honestly, that no one forced me. neither Bonnie forced me nor his family forced me, because that time things were dicey also. Okay, but when I remember first time when Bonnie took me to the Catholic Church, I was not willing to enter it. Maybe because I never what do you call, maybe because that church or God or Jesus, still he was not God for me, and I didn't know anything about Christianity. I only knew a little bit because I studied in a Roman Catholic school, so I knew that a church must have Mama Mary. So a church is only a church when it has Mama Mary. All right, and I knew the chapel, and people pray over there. So these the common things that people in India know about Christians. So I only knew that much.
Okay, so that is a very interesting thing. So for you, the Catholic faith, the symbol of Catholic faith was Mother Mary. So you felt it was a Catholic church
Yes.
only if Mother Mary was there, or you felt comforted because she was there, isn't it?
Yeah, you can say, because the moment we entered the school, there was a big Mama Mary standing over there. So that's how I know a church to be. Like for me, in my head, yes. And honestly, I didn't know I didn't know that Christianity has so many divisions, and Catholics and Protestant and Pentecostal, they're all different. I didn't have this idea. It was very obvious. So for me, church means a place where you have to see Mother Mary, and of course Jesus, the cross will be there. So for me, Jesus was just like any other god. Like there are 33 crore gods in Hinduism, so Jesus is also one of the god. Yes, one among the god. So maybe that's why also maybe the evil inside me was not ready to step into the church. So I remember that very, very clearly.
And so so as you were dating Bonnie and you guys were planning to get married, at what point did you personalize the Christian faith and decided that you have to get baptized?
I used to meet Bonnie's parents that time, and Bonnie also, and they will talk about, of course, see, if I'm a Hindu, I will talk about what I know, right? So they will talk about what they know. So definitely that thing was going on about Christianity, and and the marriage was also a bit dicey on both the sides, because it's a huge difference, right? And it's a big thing in India, right? When your religion is different. So I remember one day I was waiting in a bus stop, and around the same area where Bonnie lives, and it was very hot. Delhi is very, very Delhi is on fire on summers, so it was very hot, and I saw a church behind, and I knew that church is not the church where Bonnie goes, but some other church. So I just entered into that church thinking, okay, sometime I will just rest over there. So there was a gathering of people outside the church, but I just went in and I sat, and I was just looking at the cross. I was just looking at Jesus, and something inside me, I don't know what happened that time, but I just told him that you are God. Are you really God? Why don't I know you if you're God? And if you're God, can you give me some proof that you're God? Because you can say I was in a mental pressure also that time, because I wanted to get married to this guy who is a Catholic, who is a Catholic, and I was trying, and I was in the I already left Buddhism. Hinduism I left long ago, so I was very confused, very, very confused. At that moment, where spirituality is concerned, I was very, very confused, and I knew that my heart is still open for the answer, and I won't stop until I get the answer. So I told Jesus, that I know you. I have seen you in my school for 14 years. I had seen you. I have celebrated Christmas all my life. but are you really God? Are you really God? So and I think that very same night, I had that dream. I did not see Jesus, or I did not see any flowery things. I remember I saw a spring, and I saw, baby deers, and it was so calm. I could see the stars and all, and it was so calm. My heart was at peace, you know. I told the same thing to Bonnie, and then I remember Bonnie took me to Jesus calls that time. He took me to Jesus calls, and I read a book actually of Mr. Dinakaran. I read a book where he described heaven to be like that. Because when we talk about heaven, we see so many flowery things, so many things. But those baby deers and the spring, and it was exactly what I remembered from my dream. That was exactly in that book. When I was very confirmed, that was the first time it actually struck me that I asked in the morning and I get the answer at night. So, and then I started going to Jesus calls. I started going to Jesus calls, and I must tell you that they helped to form my faith. There's no denial to it, that at that moment the struggles I was going through, by that time even my parents had an idea that I was seeing a Christian guy, and there was against it. There's no chance that they will be for it. They were against it, and so that I had too much of mental pressure that time. I was looking for peace, and Jesus calls, when there were ministers praying over me, and it became a regular thing. I found peace over there. And still I didn't know the difference between the churches. Okay, still I didn't know the difference between the churches. But one day I asked someone, a prayer leader over there, why is Mama Mary not here? And it's not like a proper church. Why I just wanted to know. I'm anxious. That's how I put it forward to him. And then he gave me a blast. And that day I felt that no, this is not something very normal. Of course, I give too much of credit to Jesus also for forming my faith and making me strong. But yeah, there are few people, we can't change their mindset, and they're not ready to accept the truth. So I think that fellow was like that. But also at the same time, that very day, it was clear on my head that no, this is not the place. This is not the correct thing. Also, same time I was going to a Pentecostal church also. When I was attending Jesus calls for Sunday masses, I would go to Pentecostal church. And that church was very close to where I was staying in Delhi. So it was easy for me to tell my parents, give them an excuse and come out of the house, because I know in 1 hour I'll be back. So I was going to a Pentecostal church, and after some time I put up the same question and I get the same blast. So that was the time when I actually started checking seriously with my mother-in-law and with Bonnie. Why is this difference, and why? So they explained it to me, but it was like a theory. Nothing practical was happening. It was all in theory. I was understanding what they are saying, but I didn't have that that feeling, you can say. Nothing pinched me. Yes, exactly. And then I wanted to get baptized. Of course I wanted to. I was because by that time I was very much in love with Jesus, very, very much. And I prayed everywhere, JD, because I couldn't pray at home. And there was a wind of problems in my house because of this. They thought that I'm becoming a Christian. My parents thought that I'm becoming a Christian because I want to marry Bonnie. You know, that was not the case, because by that time I knew, you know, I was 100%. It was clear for me that I want to become a Christian because I am in love with God, and I know that He is in love with me. You know, marrying Bonnie is the second part, but first, you know, I have to be a Christian. I was born to be a Christian, you know. So, my mother-in-law and I, we went to the church where Bonnie was registered, Catholic Church in Delhi, but they were not convinced. And they almost rejected the sacrament of baptism. Because, you know, they were not convinced. They thought maybe, you know, I will move back to Hinduism, or I don't know, but that moment I felt that they have a sort of disbelief, that they felt maybe I will go back to Hinduism, or maybe my intention is only to marry the person and then to get married. Yeah. So somehow either I couldn't convince them, or you know, they were not convinced with my approach. So what was the solution? So we found, you know, a church and a pastor in Delhi who was very famous for this thing, and he was legally very protected, right? So we went there, and it was a Baptist church. So I went there, I spoke to him, and I got baptized in a Baptist church. Okay. And he was actually very open-minded, and he said that tomorrow if you want to become a Catholic, you can always become a Catholic, right? So no one is stopping you. So it's good that at least you get baptized. Right now, getting baptism is more important. Okay, so I got baptized, but there was no confession, and you know, the things are different, in no sacraments. You know, it's different. And then we again, after that I got married, and things started settling down. Okay, so but we got married in the same church, in Baptist church. So yes, because I was not a Catholic, we couldn't get married in a Catholic church. Okay, yeah, and we didn't have enough time that time. Why? Because my parents were already looking out for guys for me. You know, they were already bringing, you know, the relatives and all. They were already pressurizing me for marriage, because they knew that I was, you know, I was into a relationship with a Christian guy. So they thought it will just pass. You know, it's just a madness and it will pass. They never understood how serious I am. So we got married, and my parents were not there in my marriage because I was a runaway bride. You know, I literally came out of my house, and we got married in the Baptist church. So after that things started settling in, and my parents also accepted, and everyone in my family accepted, and everything was fine. You know, everything was fine. I think that was the time when I deviated, actually, because for me, I became a Christian, you know, and I got married. Exactly. So I think I took God for granted. Although I was going to the Catholic Church with them, but I didn't get sacraments, right? I didn't get sacraments, no confession, and I did not know communion. So I actually started thinking, then, you know, it's okay, you know, why to be a Catholic? What is the need? Even we are doing family prayer, you know, I'm praying the rosary, so everything, you know, I'm being a Catholic. So that was my notion for a very long time, you know, that I am already a Catholic. There's no need to take, you know, be confirmed in a Catholic church specially. I can get the sacraments anywhere. Any Protestant church or any Pentecostal church will give me sacrament if I want. So that was the thing going on in my head, and it for a very long time. In 2017, when we shifted from India to Dubai, and things went upside down because no family support. You don't have families around you to support you, don't have friends, and that was the time when things went completely upside down, and we were actually going through a very, very low time, you know spiritual, overall spiritually, financially, everywhere it was a very, very low time. And of course no help because you are in a different country, among different people, and even I remember after coming to Dubai, immediately I was not going to the church because again the same thing, no sacrament, no communion. So what is the point of going to church? And Body was also very busy at that time. He was working on Sundays because at that time in Dubai, Sundays were working. Friday and Saturday were leave day holidays, and Sunday was working. So he was also working on Sunday. So we just went with the flow, But when this crisis struck us, and I used to remember what my mother-in-law said that you yes. So I knew that this is the time when actually God, he broke my knees. He broke my knees, and I was kneeling every day, day and night in front of him, crying and crying and crying that, I'll get help from somewhere. I'll get help from somewhere. That was the time when, like that 2017 and almost 2018, it was halfway 2018, and then someone shared a video of Ascension Presence, Father Mike, and it was a video about suffering, the meaning of suffering. I very well remember the meaning of suffering, where he says why God allows suffering, and it completely changed my thought process. I was like, oh my God, I never thought this way. I always said, why me? I always said what I did. I always said Jesus that what I did for him. I never realized what he did for me. And this is what happens when, if parents give everything to the children, whatever they ask, the children will never realize the importance of the parents. So, the same thing was happening with me. And I also feel because of me, even Bonnie was holding himself. Bonnie was also holding himself. Because I think being a wife, if I was serious, then of course he will also be serious, or he was serious, I will also be serious. Like, it works like that, right, in a family. So that was the time, and I remember I saw that video twice, thrice. I kept on watching the same video because every time I felt, something is getting inside my heart. Every time something is getting inside my heart. Then I started watching most of his videos, Father Mike's videos, and I thought, no one ever told me these things about Catholicism, about a Catholic Church, about God. No one told me about Jesus, these things that this priest, is telling me through his video. So then I thought, okay, no. Then I spoke to my mother-in-law, and then she said, this is something I was trying to explain it to you for so many years, but you did not take it seriously. None of you took it seriously. And I found myself so guilty that time, and I knew that there were things I could have avoided, the situations, I could have avoided those situations if I would have knelt before. So basically, till then I was just blaming God for the suffering he gave me. I never realized that these sufferings were because of me. Because of me. And then in one video, he actually cries, Father Mike. He was crying, and he said that our suffering is our reason, but God never leaves us in our suffering. I could see him welled up and tears coming out of his eyes, saying that Jesus is standing us in that suffering. Like he stood with David, Like he stood with each Abraham and Jacob and everyone. So he is standing us in that fire. If I am burning, he is also burning, along with me. So it's not, if I'm crying, he is also crying. So these words really had an impact on me, and it's so much so I don't think so I'll ever forget them in my life again. So then from there, my thought, I became serious. Everything, my thought process changed. I went to the church in Dubai, St. Mary's, and I went through the full catechism course. Adult catechism, and then I got confirmed in the Catholic Church. Along with me, Bonnie also got confirmed, because Bonnie was baptized, but his confirmation was not done. He got his Holy Communion done, but the last part, the confirmation was not done. Yes. So both of us got confirmed on the same day. So from then, and I knew when I was going through that process, I knew that the next step is me becoming a catechist, because I really wanted to get into the depth of Catholicism, because I was so serious, and for me it was like discovering Christianity again. For me, it was like God saved me again. It was like that.
Another interesting thing, right, Pooja? Like whenever we have an encounter with God, that is just not for us. Like everywhere in the Bible we see when someone has an encounter with God, the next moment they are sent on mission. Whether it's Mother Mary, Peter, Paul. So that's very true in your case, right? When you became a Catholic, the immediate thing that you wanted was to become a catechist, because God was sending you on a mission.
Very, very, very true. And I would give a lot of credit to our church, St. Mary's in Dubai, because they have people, who really help to build your faith, help to make you more Catholic. I used to be very confused with the mysteries of Rosary, but one of the member, she actually told me that the mysteries are actually in sequence. Just if you remember, if you focus on the life of Jesus, it's in perfect sequence. And that very moment I learned it never to forget it. So these small things, they actually had a very big impact on my life, very, very big impact on my life. And what am I today is because of that. Definitely because of Father Mike. 500% because of him, and then again another 500% because of our church in Dubai.
In Dubai.
Yes.
Nice. Actually, I was telling you during the call that we had previously, like what Father Mike SCHMITZ has meant to you is what Bishop Aaron was for me, because he changed my life upside down. Like the videos that I was listening of Bishop Aaron. Yes. And it's so amazing, right? Like how God can use different people in our lives to bring us closer to Him.
Exactly. In fact, I watched so many videos of Bishop Barron also. It's great, but at times I find it difficult to understand his what he's saying. When if it is with Father Mike, he speaks in a very normal way, like a layman way, which gets inside your head very straight away. It gets inside your head, and then all thanks to him that he started Bible in a year, and I think that was a very, very, very great step from the Ascension Presence as well, because it you don't want to read the Bible every day, right? Because writing is something, and when you hear it has a different impact. So I think that was also too good for me, and many of us, I think many of the people around the world, but it was very, very good for me as well. It helped. Exactly. I got the answers of so many things, especially of the suffering. I got the answer of suffering, and he will say, offer everything to Jesus. Offer everything to Jesus. Even your suffering, even your tears, offer it to Jesus, because everything that you give to God is never wasted. This is the line he uses a lot, that whatever you give to God, to Jesus, whether it's your tears, your joy, your anxiety, your suffering, it is never wasted. He will make a use of it, and He will bring about a big thing so that we can give glory to Him. So He uses our suffering to bring glory to Him. So, and this is something which He uses quite often, and this has helped me incredibly. It has helped me. Otherwise, till now, no, otherwise I think, till now I would have been crying in a corner, blaming God for everything. So
No, I want to do a separate interview on this aspect of suffering and how your understanding of suffering changed, and it aligned with the understanding that the church has to teach us through Fr Mike SCHMITZ Vidoes. But I think that in itself will be a big talk, big one for us to discuss.
Yes.
So as I'm thinking about your story, Pooja, so you were a Bengali, brought up in Jharkhand, worked in Delhi, and became a Catholic in Dubai. That is an interesting turn of events, isn't it?
Yes. Also,
Thank you, Pooja.
just a quick note that suffering, I think suffering never stops. Everyone is suffering for some reason or the other. But the whole way I look and I approach and I handle suffering now, it's completely different now. So I have peace. I have peace in myself. I have peace in my family. Because it's all settled now. So I'm like, okay, doesn't matter. Come, bring it. I know I'm the devil's favorite. And he will not leave me. I know. But then.
And another important thing is sufferings can be something God allows to sanctify us. Like I've seen in my own life, there were so many situations that God allowed, which made me what I am today. Like otherwise I would have also been very fickle and not founded in the faith properly, and I would have gone astray. But it's those things that God allowed in my life has strengthened me more and more to hold on to Him and be faithful.
And there, I'm like my life till now, it's full of witnesses. Like I am a witness of everything. Every small thing, we feel it's small, but it's actually not small. God makes that thing to happen so that it can change us. It can have a big impact on us. So there were very, very small things, and those small things actually build up this, strong girl that I am now. Homilies, I skipped. I was so bored of homilies. But since the whole COVID, I attended Fr Mike's homilies. I understand the importance of homilies. I actually, I will never miss homilies ever in my life now. I don't think so. So all these small things,
Amazing, Pooja. Yeah. So I thought I'll keep the interview till 45 minutes so that it doesn't become too long. But there are so many aspects of your life which we can discuss in detail, especially the one which we pointed out, the suffering. So maybe we'll do a separate video. But I want to take this time to thank you for being so open about your journey and your experience with the Christian faith and finally coming to the abode of the Catholic faith.
I am actually thankful, and I am thankful to God and to so many people.
That's true.
Who all built my faith. I'm so thankful, and I will never forget them.